Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Liklix. So in today's tutorial, I'm going to tell you how to add a form, how to add data from your form in database in Laravel. So basically it is called the CRUD operations like CRUD, we mostly call this as a CRUD operation. Create is basically the inserting data into your database. Then R is reading a data from your database, and U is your updations, and D is your deletions. So these are the four rules of CRUD, and we are going to implement all these things in my this video tutorial. So starting with the things are first of all we need to open the database. So localhost php myadmin. I'm going to create a new database over here. So and let it be a database, and by clicking on a database, I have a video of SQL tutorial onto my channel, and if you want that you should know about how to create a database, what are different queries, you can check out that video also. So moving to this one, and I'm going to create as Laravel uh, Laravel database. So this is the database I am going to create, and in this database I am going to create a table with the name of student, and I'm going to take as 5 fields. So number of columns will be 5. ID is a mandatory column that you have to take. So it's 11. We have to assign ID as primary key, and along with the primary key I need it as auto increment so that it can have unique values with itself. So moving to this part, I am going to tell its first name and 255. It should be a varchar and a 255 characters. And also first name, if you're writing the first name, it should be a small letters, and if there is a space in between, you have to fill the space with underscore. So moving to the next part, its last name, again it will be a varchar 255 character. Then it's marks 1 and marks 2. I'm taking these two fields so that the operation should be performed later on. So this is the table I have created with ID, first name, last name, marks 1 and marks 2. So I'm going to click on a save button. So here my student table is made in Laravel, and now moving to the next part, I'm going to get here. First of all, I need to open the env file. I have a project name, my second project in the env file. There is a .env file in your every Laravel project folder. I need to open this, and here there are the few lines that are written over here. I don't need to change each and every line. You have to find out the 13th number line, and in that there is a written db underscore database as Laravel. You need to fill your own database which you have been created at the back end. So my database name is Laravel. You have to simply write this name over here. So DB database is Laravel. You don't have to write double quotes or nothing else. You have to simply put this name, and you need to save the file. So in this way, you will be connecting. You have connected your my second project with this database Laravel. So moving to the next part, as I have told you that I am going to create a CRUD operations. I will create a form in which the user will fill up that form, and data will be inserted at the backend. So for that I need a URL. So in the URL in the roots folder and the web.php, I'm going to create a URL over here. I can just mention here as that these are my Laravel CRUD operations roots. So these are my Laravel CRUD operation roots. I have mentioned it's the comment. So I am going to create a root that will be a get root, and in this I will be say it as a display form, and whenever the URL will be a display form, then basically it will be going to your the controller. I can put as I controller that two will be in the double quotes. It will be a I controller, and at the rate at which function it will be going. It will be going in the display form function. So display hyphen form URL will take me to iController at the rate display form. So what are basically controllers? Controllers are the intermediators between your views and models. So later on, I am going to explain you in detail, but right now we can check here like how to display, because in the earlier tutorial I have explained you that by typing a URL of ABC, direct view will be opened. But now I am going to open my this view with the help of controller. So let's start display form. I'm going to tap a display form over here, and now let's check the display form. So right now I have not made any controllers. Any I controller is not being made, and not even a display form method is being made. So right now it is giving me the error. So now I am starting with creating a controller part, and one thing I have been missing here, like there is a double column here in order to check a root. So I have put a single column, there is a double column here. So now let's start how to make a controller in Laravel. So now we are going to start creating a controller, and if I'm going to click on here, now the controller I controller does not exist. So moving to the controller part, I will open a command prompt. You can open the command prompt by just CMD, typing a CMD over here. So you need to enter a full path like the C drive. I have a XAMPP folder, htdocs folder, my second project. This URL I have to copy from here, and I need to paste this URL here. So by typing a CD and right click, you can just paste your URL. And now I I have been in my second project. So now I will make a command, put a command over here, php artisan. So this is an inbuilt command to create a controller, php artisan make controller. So which controller I have specified over here, it's I controller. So simple, I need to type as I controller. So php artisan make controller I controller. If I am going to click, if I am going to press enter, a command is being executing, and it will create a controller name as I controller. So now let's check in my second project. Here is my second project folder. In the app folder there is http folder, and in the http there is a folder named controllers, and in controller my a new controller is being generated, that is I controller. So this is the basic structure of a controller. It is being inherited with namespace http controllers. The request is being used in this. The request object will be used to get all the values of the form variables. So this is an I controller is extended with a controller that is a base controller. So here I'm going to type my function. So web.php I controller is being created. So when I'm going to display, when I'm going to like check here, if I'm going to check a display form, so I controller exists, and in the I controller we don't have a display form. So I'm going to create a display form. So public function, it will be a display form function, and in this display form function I am going to return view, and I can just check here as it will be a display underscore form. So in the view folder I need to create a view as display form. So in the view folder, like in I'm going into my second project folder, in the resources in views folder, I'm going to create my display form dot play dot php. So I'm going to just copy paste this, and display form dot play dot php. So this is my blade file. So right now it's empty. So now if you are going to check this, now I'm going to explain it like slash display form. It will be taking me to the I controller. I controller is this controller, and in this I controller it will be going to take me to the display form function. There is a display form function exists like written in controller, and here it is going to return a view display form. So display form is a view that is being presented in my like created in my resources view folder. So in this way it is going to render your view. So let's check with the out. So let's see the output. If I'm going to click here, display form, and it's still not working. Let's check what's see. Sometimes you need to specify the full path. Like we have a controller uh, in HTTP controller icontroller.php, but still it's not finding this. For this, you can just like put here as you can specify here the full path app http and slash controllers. So uh, okay, so here my display form is been opened, and if I am going to check here is hello to Laravel. So now it is being rendered. So now I'm going to create a form over here. So creating a form, I will create a quick form HTML head title body, and we can just create a form. We have to specify its action, and method will be post and form close, and we can just give here as we can define here as table. So moving to the table part, I can just define here as the 2td first name, then input type text, and we have to specify its name as first name. Then we need to create last name and its variable as last name, then a marks 1, its variable as name as marks 1, and marks 2. So in the last we are going to make a submit button, name save. So one thing you have to include in your form is that you have to put here, as it is a blade file. So this is a Laravel syntax, right? So here you have to mention a field as CSRF field. You have to specify it over here. If you are going to specify it, then only your form will be posted, otherwise your form will not be posted. Now defining a URL, because as we all know that every URL will be going through web.php file. So for defining a URL, we need to specify here a inbuilt tag URL, and I'm going to check here, I'm going to write here as form submit. So this is basically the form that I'm going to create over. If I'm going to just refresh this, a form is being created, and there is one extra field over here. I'm just going to delete this. So a form has been created, first name, last name, marks 1 and marks 2. So CSS CSRF field is a mandatory tag. Form action will be your URL, and a forms on the form submit it will be going to take. So let's create a web file. In the web file, I'm going to create a root. So in root, I'm going to create a get, and now like so this is basically, see, in the above URL you are going to write, you have written directly onto your this URL file, so you need to write here as get. But whenever you are going to like depending upon the form method, like here I have mentioned the form method as post, so I need to like define here as post root URL. So here I'm going to submit as form submit, because I'm going to take it to a URL called form submit, and in the form submit again I'm going to take it into the sum. I'm just going to copy this, and after pasting I'm going to say there, it will take you to form submit action in your I controller. So moving to the I controller, I'm going to create a form submit method, public function form submit. Form submit. In the form submit, I'm going to check as a request is an inbuilt class and its object, because every form data uh, will be you can say answered by the request object. And now I'm going to create here uh, add object and of student model. So what is basically the model? So I have created an object of my student class. See, like here you have not to mention the round brackets over here. So it is basically a model. So how to create a model in Laravel? Let's see. We are again going to open the command prompt. In the command prompt, again I will be referring my project folder. In the XAMPP, it's htdocs, and in the my second project, I'm going to copy this URL again and cd right click. So in this way, I can just enter into my second project folder, and here I will be again to make a controller. I have written a command, and in the same way to create a model, I will be writing a command here as PHP artisan make model student. So by clicking on the enter part, I can just define here like there is some error I have taken as something. So I think I have written a wrong spelling name of a model. So it's MODEL. So PHP artisan make model student. So the model is being created. So model where it can be existing in the app folder, and my second project in the app folder, in the models folder, there is a model named student that is being created with the help of this php artisan make model command. So student.php, so it is already been created, and like the namespace app models illuminate, it is basically the class student is being created and it is extending the base model. And so here all the default things existing is being existed. So here I will going to mention as my protected table name, to which table it is being as this model is being associated. So a protected table student, and I can specify here as public timestamps. What are basically the timestamps? You need to do here the public timestamp as false. Basically whenever you are going to create a table, what Laravel suggests that you have to like mention the two more field column names such as created at and updated at. So for the right now, we are not creating timestamp fields. We have not created at column or updated at column. For this, you have to mention here as timestamp false. If you are not going to mention that, then Laravel will always be asking you to create that column names. Fine. So this is a model. So back into my I controller, then I'm going to create an object of my model class, and this student class, this student model is being associated with my student table. So moving back to my controller, now I'm going to save my data into my database. So request if is method post, if it is method post, definitely it is a method post, and add is my object, and with the help of add I'm going to specify here my column names. So column name is first name, and in the request I have received my all form data. So here I'm going to write here as request get first name. So I'm going to just copy this all my variables part. So first name, now the last name, marks 1 and marks 2. So basically this is the all the name that I have given, the first name, last name, marks 1 and marks 2. This is all the name that I have given to my this column name, the input type text names that is been given. And now I'm going to these are the here are the basically your column names of your table. So first name, last name, then your marks 1, and in the last there will be marks. So add marks to request get. So we need to verify all this once we are going to finalize all the things. So in the display form, name is the first name, last name, marks 1 and marks 2. So here is the first name, last name, marks 1 and marks 2. See, there have done a spelling mistake. So marks 2, and one thing I have to do more is that I have created a model. So you need to add that model at top of your this file. You need to use as use app slash student. So student is a model name that I have been created. So student is a model name. So I need to add this into my controller and put a semicolon in the last, right? So in this way you can just include your model in your icon. Okay, so so before proceeding further, we need to just verify all the things that all the things are working fine. So here I have given the first name, last name, and here I have been included in my here I have included my model name in my controller. So let's check here, like my second project, there is an app folder, and one thing we need to change is that in the Laravel 7, the models were directly placed in the app folder, but as in Laravel 8, the in the app folder there is a folder that exists of models. So I need to add models here also, because it's app, then models, then the student model is available. So we need to add models also, because we need to follow the proper path and the guidelines of the Laravel structure. So in this way you can just add your this table. You can fill your object, and last you are going to call your object as add save, and you need to, after calling the save function, your values will be inserted into the backend, and now you are going to redirect it as on which form. You can redirect it on display form. So display form is a URL over here. Display form is the URL. So we need to check this once by running. So display form. So right now we are going to check what we have made. So there is a form, display form, and I'm going to add this ABC XYZ 100 and 200. So 200. Now I'm going to click on a submit button. So when I'm going to click on a submit button, so let's check the flow how it is being moved. So this is a form. First of all, I have clicked on a display form. So in the display form, when the URL is of display form, then it will be opening a display form function in iController. So display form function is this one. It is going to render your display form .blade.php. So my form has been presented. So in this form, first name, last name, marks is all there. After like typing, let it be John ABC 100 and 200. By clicking on a submit button, it is going to take me to the form submit URL. So form submit URL is this one, and then it will be taking me to iController form submit. So iController form submit method. So all the form values will be received in the request object. Then I have created a model of student. To create a model, as like I have mentioned, you need to type a command php artisan make model student. So I have given a reference. So if request is method post, so because it is a post method, so if request is method post, then request get first name will be filled in your first name column, this column, because this is first name, column name is this one, and this request get first name is your form first name. So last name marks 1 marks 2, and in the last I am going to call the same method, and it will be redirecting me to the display form method. So let's check submit button. So it has taken me back to the display form, and in the back end I'm going to check here as like I have input the two fields, so these two fields are filled in your database. So this is the process of creating a form and adding a data into your database with the help of Laravel. So if you like my video, just subscribe to my channel Netflix, and do like and share my videos if you like. So thanks for watching my video. Last video tutorial of Laravel, I have teach you how to submit a form values at the backend of your database. So this we have seen in our last video tutorial, and in this tutorial I will teach you how to display data from backend to your browser. For example, in the last tutorial I have made you like if I am going to write here as last name XYZ 200 submit. So here my records comes. So I want to display this record in my front end, means I will put a value as display data. I will change my URL to display data. And if I'm going to, like right now it's not found, but it will display a record from backend to the front end. So before starting the video, if you have not subscribed to my channel, just subscribe to my channel and do like my videos and press on notification icon to get latest updates of all the video tutorials. So starting with my video, first of all, in order to create a root file, in order to display data, first of all we have to create a root. It will be a get. So I need display data, that is my root, and I will call whenever this URL will be encountered in your web browser, it will open a function name as display data in your iController, right? So here is my iController. So what it will be doing is whenever my URL will be called like display data, it will open a function in my iController. It will open a display data function in my iController. So when I have like opened this right now, we have not declared any display data function in my controller. So moving to create a display data function, I will just open my iController. I will just type here as public function display data. Now I'm going to declare a variable that will just fetch my records from the database. So student is my model which I have imported from here, and student model is being directly connected with my table. So student, I will display data as well as I will paginate it along with my display. So there is a paginate method. So I will call student model with the help of student model. I will call a paginate method, and how much pagination is required. For example, I will say 2 pagination is required. So now I am going to return this data to my controller. So it will return a view because I will display this data with the help of any file. So return view display, a display file I will be making. And basically this is an object. So this object is converted to an array with the help of compact method. So compact data. So all the data that is being, all the records of this table that is being right now present in data variable will be going to display dot blade dot php. I will be creating a display dot blade dot php file, and all the data that is right now available in data variable will be sent to that file. So this is my controller function. Now moving to my file, I will just open my C drive, then XAMPP, htdocs, my second project, and here I will be opening app. I need to create a view. So resources, views, I will just create like one view with the name. I will just copy paste it. Display dot blade dot php. So I'm going to open this. I will just erase all this body part, and this is right now my display.blade.php. So I will just code it with the help of HTML head, title and body, and now I'm going to print here like the ID, first name, last name, marks 1 and marks 2. So for that I will be creating a table over here. So I will put a table border as 1 and let it be its width as 80%. So table heading, ID, name, its first name, last name, marks 1, marks 2. So first name, let's be it in the capital. So last name, marks 1 and marks 2. So now let's look at the actual controller. Like see, whenever display data is encountered, it will be going to take me to iController display data. So iController display data, in display data function I have called my database, I have called my table student, and all the records are being displayed in data variable. I have returned this data variable to my display file, that is a view and display file. In the view folder I have created my blade file display.blade.php, and in that I am now putting the coding to display my data. So ID, first name, last name, marks 1 and marks 2. And now I'm as it is a blade file, so these all Laravel syntax will be working over here. So for each data as row, so right now we are having a data variable that has my all data of table. So for data as row, and I'm going to write here as table row table data, and I can just display here row first name, whatever its column name existed. So first underscore name, I'm going to just copy it and paste. So last name, marks 1 and marks 2. It's some extra, so I have to. So for each is the loop that I have been started. I need to end it with the help of and for each. And in the last, I will put a column. I will put a row td call span 1 2 3 4 4, and in this I will be putting my data, because right now we have a data variable, and the pagination of like will be displayed with the help of data variable only, because if I have to display the record one by one, that is going to be inside my loop variable. That will means first record of data will be moving to row variable, and then the row first name, last name and marks 1 marks 2 will be printed. Then again it will be checking that if any other row exists, then the second row of the data will be available in will be transferred to row variable. Then row first name, last name, marks 1 marks 2 will be printed, and similarly as many times the rows are encountered, it will be coming to row variable, and first name, last name, data, marks 1 marks 2 is printed. And in the last it will be printing your data like links part, because I have fetched all the records in the form of pagination in my data variable. So for that, if I want to print, then data links function is being called. So for that, data links function has been called, and it will display the pagination link. So let's see the output and display data. So there is some error, syntax error expecting, and I think it's semicolon. So looking onto the controller, I have not put the semicolon over here. So I will put a semicolon over here in the last, and now I'm going to refresh this. Then my data is being printed over here in the form of this. I have some two fields, marks 1 and marks 2, right? And I think I have like marks 1 and marks 2 and table data, right? So marks 1, there is an extra column. I have not printed the ID. So also I will print the ID part, and now its ID, its name, and marks 1, marks 2. So right now I am having three records in my table. So here it's showing me only two records, and a previous next button is being placed over here. So links, how it is been placed, by calling the data on the data links function on the data variable will help in displaying me the previous and next links, that is of pagination. If because here in the controller I have marked the pagination of 2, so right now currently I am displaying with the two records, and if I'm going to click on the next, then the next record will be displayed. And in the like downside, it's been displaying as 1 and 2, and by clicking on a 1 it's going moving to the first record, and clicking on the 2 it's moving to the second record. So in this way you can just display your data with the help of like student paginate method, and by returning the your data to the display blade file, and by placing a loop over here you can display your entire data. In the next video I'm going to tell you how to format this pagination, as well as how to delete a record from your database. So in today's tutorial I'm going to tell you that how to delete a record from database in Laravel. So in my previous video, I have told about how to insert data in the database with the help of Laravel each form, and how to display a data. And if you have not seen that videos, do watch the playlist of Learn Laravel in my channel, and you can find that videos and you can also learn from there. So in this video, I'm going to explain how to delete a data from a Laravel database. So for that, we have this record like display data. These are the records that are coming from my the student table, and it is being displayed over here. So what I need here is I need a column name delete over here, and on every row there will be a delete button. By clicking on a delete button it will be deleting a particular record. So starting with it, I need to declare a root over here, root get. Now I will just define here a link delete data. And see, if you want to delete a data, we need a unique ID of every row. Like this row have a unique ID of 2, because name can be same in both cases, but according to ID we can differentiate each and every record. So ID is a unique factor of every row, of each row, so we can target our ID. So I have been declaring a variable, a root as delete data, and an ID will be passed over here, and that ID will be when this root, when this URL is encountered in your URL, in your address bar of the browser, then it will be taking me to iController delete data function. So I'm explaining you this again, that if delete data slash ID will be any ID, it will be a dynamic ID 2, 3, 4, any ID. When this root is being encountered in your URL browser, then it will be going to iController, means this iController, and in this iController it will be moving to delete data. So here can I have to define a function with the name delete data. And as we know that delete data will be will contain all, will also contain an ID, so I will be declaring an as ID variable over here. So you can declare any variable. I have taken an id variable. You can take here as a b c, whatever you want to take. So so this is a delete data. So when this URL will be encountered, and it will be moving to delete data function. So before coding this, we need to create a link of delete data. For that, I have opened my display data file, the display data blade file. I'm going to check here as delete, like I have mentioned here as delete heading. And in this part, table data, I will be writing here as a link ahref, a link of delete button. So delete link is being created, and also I will just specify here, like now it will be going to which URL. So here I have declared delete data URL. So it will be taking me to delete delete data slash, because this is delete data, and in this delete data we have to specify like id along with that. So here will be an id. So delete data here, in the blade file I can define here, you have to put here a single quote. So here the single quote ends, and it will be concatenated with a unique row ID. So delete data means clicking on a delete button or a delete link will take me to this URL, delete data URL, and it will be concatenated with a unique row ID of each row. So if I'm going to refresh this, uh, look at the bottom of the this in this portion you have to look in. So by, if I am putting a cursor on delete button of second row id, it is which link is showing me? It is showing me here the link of delete data slash 2. And if I am clicking on a link of the bottom row, then it is taking me to the link of delete data slash 5. And if I am going to check my URL, so it's delete data. So if I am going to check here, it's delete data slash id. So it's the root is perfect. So by clicking on a delete function, the delete function, delete button, on this delete button, it will be taking me to delete data 2. So in the web file, in the root file, this is the delete data slash id, means delete data slash 2. Then this URL, when it will be encountered in your browser, it will be taking me to iController delete data function. So iController delete data function, whatever ID will be passed over here will be will be received by this ID variable. And in this ID variable, now I am going to delete that record. So OB is my reference. So here I will be, because all the database, you can say all the database handling or whatever the database operation is performed is being performed by model. So student is my model, and with the help of student I will be going to find, I will be using a find method, and here I will be specifying this ID variable. So whichever ID comes, if it is coming, the second ID is been coming, then it will be finding the second number record, and if 5 will be coming, it will be finding the fifth number record, and that record will be received by this OB object, and this OB object then we will be calling a delete function. So delete function, delete is an inbuilt function. I have forgot to put a semicolon over here. So after the student model find that particular ID record from table, the reference has been passed with in OB, and with the help of OB, I will delete that record. And after deleting that record, because right now I am on this URL, delete data URL, I have to return my flow, or I have to return back to display data. So display, returning back to display data, I need this URL. display data, that will be like taking me to I controller display data. So I will be referring here as display data. So I'm going to refresh this. So if I'm going to click on delete data 2, so when I'm going to delete data 2, the second record is being deleted. So how it is been happening? For example, if I'm clicking on delete data 5, the URL is being made here as delete data slash file 5. So delete data slash 5 means delete data slash 5. It will be taking me to I controller delete data. I controller delete data will be receiving that ID variable, and this id variable right now will be holding value of 5. So student table, in student table, student model will find the record which will be having id as 5, and reference will be passed to object, this ob variable. So with the help of this object I will be calling a function, that is delete function, and delete function, that is inbuilt function, it will be deleting the a record of that particular id, and after deleting that record it will be moving back to display data url, and display data url will take me to I controller display data, means I controller display data, and that particular page will be displayed again. So in this way you can just delete your record in your Laravel 8. And this was all about the video of delete data in Laravel. So if you like my video, do like and share my video, and do subscribe to my channel for getting all the latest updates of Laravel tutorial and other programming tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to explain you how to edit data in Laravel. So in the previous videos, I have told you how to delete the data in Laravel. In this video, I'm going to tell you how to edit. So moving with the root part, first of all, I have to set up a root with root get. Let it be its edit disk. We can have a root defined over here. So in root, first of all, before root, I'm going to like just put here the edit file. In the display file, I will be putting here as table heading as edit, that is already been written over there. And now I'm to give here as, I can just put here as edit. So I need to pass the ID in this as well, because if you want to edit the data, we need a particular ID to, from which it will be getting a particular row from the table and will be editing that particular record. So for that, I need to put here as, I can just here as that edit display, means edit a row. We can, I have defined here root as edit disk, and along with edit disk a row id will be passed. So if I am going to just refresh this, then um, I think I have just started here like this. So edit disk, and here I have written ahref edit disk and row id. So let's check. See, right now current my row ID is 5. So if I am going to hover on my edit button, it is displaying me edit disk and row ID 5. So edit disk and row ID 5, I'm going to make a root over here that will take that whenever this edit disk slash ID will be encountered, it is going to take me to this controller and this function. So whenever edit disk ID will be encountered, it is going to take me to iController edit disk method. So moving to iController, I will make an edit disk method, public function edit disk, and here I will be putting a ID over here, and in this ID, I'm going to like check a record like find record, and find record equals to student will be a model from which I will be accessing that particular record or row from the table. So student where you have to specify here field from which you are going to search and which ID. So this is my column name, right? And this is the variable that I have been specified over here. And when user is clicking on edit, that particular ID will be sent along with this its URL. So that ID will be received by this ID variable, and student model which is attached to my student table, like I'm going to open this localhost php my admin. So student model which is attached with my student table, it will be finding the id column. It will be finding the id column, and in id column it will be finding this particular id. Right now we are having a value of 5 in this id variable, so this id variable will be getting dot get. This arrow operator get will return all the details, means it will return this record to your find record variable. So now I am going to return a view. I will be returning a view in which all this file will be displayed. So I will be returning an edit view, and in edit view I have to like placed an I have to send a variable find record. So find record right now is having the record of fifth number record, the fifth row. So that fifth row, this object has been converted to array and it will be returning to edit view. So moving to the edit view, if I am going to click on this PC, C drive, XAMPP, htdocs, my second project, resources, views, and I have a display form. So I'm going to copy paste this, and here I will be writing it here as edit.blade.php. So I'm going to open this file, edit.blade.php. So right now this file is having a form. So we need to first of all display with the like whenever you are going to for example unexpected end of file. So I have not put the semicolon over here. So web.php semicolon. So run. It's unexpected. Uh, so I have not put here also semicolon. So you need to put a semicolon so that there should be not be any error and it should be a line break over there. So if I'm clicking on a edit button, so it is going to take me to the this file, edit file, and here like find record. So by clicking on a edit function, edit button, it's giving me the undefined variable error edit subject. So there is some cache issue, I think so. So I need to change the name of a blade file. Let's do it as edit one. So I'm renaming it to as edit one. So now let's see whether it's working or not. So if I'm going to click on an edit button, so here my form is been displayed. So there was some cache issue with my with browser. So I need to rename that file, and now it's working fine. I am going to open this file as edit1.blade.php. So edit file was been existing earlier also. So I think that is been picking the Laravel has picked that particular file. So I have just renamed the file in order to work it properly. So whenever I'm going to click on a edit function, so edit function will be going to my this one, and it will be taking me to edit display ID. The edit display ID will return me to iController edit display function. So in the iController edit display function, an ID will be received, and that ID's data will be find with the help of where syntax where query, and that record will be returned to find record, and we have send this variable uh, in the form of array to edit one view. So in the edit one view, I need to display these all files, the data over here, in order to make it editable. So for that thing, I have to write here as value, and in the value part, I will be writing here in the form of Laravel that whether is set. So I have a variable with find record. So I will be using here as find record. So find record uh, 0 first name. If is set means if first name is having a value, then it will be displaying your first name, else it will be displaying a blank. So first name is having a value. So for this, I need to just copy this, and I will be putting it to my every file. So here will be the last name, last name, marks 1, marks 1, marks 2, marks 2. So all the files are being displayed over here. So moving to its action part, so I will just explain you again about this, that the record is being right now fetched in find record variable, and in the find record variable I am going to check here the condition if find record, like we have only one record, because in find record, because I have put here the query of where, so it will be finding only one record where ID will be matched. So here I have been using as that if find record 0 first name will be having a value, then it will be showing a value, otherwise it will be showing a blank. So right now every field have a value, so all the values are being displayed over here. So I'm going to now take it to my another URL that I can say here as edit form URL, that will just change the value. So here I am going to pass my ID as well, because I need an ID in order to edit my I need an ID in order to edit my record. So URL will be edit form, and it will be concatenated with dot. We can just concatenate. It will be concatenated with my ID. So let's see in its inspect element. If I am going to inspect it, my form action will be when I am going to click on a submit button, it will be taking me to public edit form and file. So edit form, I have to make uh, a root over here. So my form method is post. So I will be writing here as post, and edit form will be my URL, because I have specified here as edit form, and it will be taking ID as well, and it will be taking me to edit form. So edit form, or we can write here as edit data. So edit data, it will be going to take me to the iController edit data function. So here I am going to declare an edit data function, and I will be passing here as first of all the form values are to be received. So I need to pass a request variable. Along with the request variable, I will be passing an ID. So these two arguments I need to pass. So I have a ID with me, because in this edit form, after the form is being submitted, it is being accompanied with a ID. So I need to find out first of all the record of that particular ID. For that I need an object, and I will just find that student is the model that is attached to my table. So find ID. So it is going to find that particular record. I am going to now copy all this uh, method and this way, this also, and it is going to find that particular record. So add object will be having reference of that particular record that is being submitted. So first name will be updated with a request first name get marks, and it will be saved, and then it will be taking me to the display form. So if I'm going to refresh this, I'm going to just erase 1 2 3, and I will be updating it to as 9 and 9. And if I'm going to submit this, it is going to take me to a display form again, because I have mentioned here as display form. I will change here to display data. So if I'm going to check my display data right now, it was 99. It has been becoming 9. I can check here as display data. So if I'm again going to edit, so edit, I can use here as ABC XYZ 8 and 8. So submit. So here my value has been edited ABC XYZ 8 and 8, and your edited record is being displayed over here. So concluding all this part, we can say here as, first of all, we need an edit button. So I have written here the edit button. I have attached a URL. I have given a root over here, edit display, and along with the root, I have passed the row ID. So whenever the edit will be clicked, it is going to take me to this edit display. So edit display is the root which I have given in my root file along with the ID. Whenever this root will be encountered, it will be taking me to edit display file. So edit display function in iController. So in iController, edit display function will be encountered, and the ID, whatever ID I am going to pass over here, that will be like received by this ID variable, and student is the model that will be fetching that particular ID record from database, and the values will be received by find record variable. So I have sent a find record variable to my edit one blade file that is containing right now the form is being contained. The form is being loaded onto my this file, and in this file I have put down the value with the help of isSet function, that if find record 0, because 0 I have put because find record is currently having only one record. So find record 0 first name, if value is not empty, then it will be displaying the first name. Same in the case of XYZ and marks. So in the form action part, I have created another URL. Along with the URL, I am also passing the record ID currently, which the form is being edited. So along with this ID, whenever the form will be submitted, it is going to take me to the edit form, and along with edit form, it will be taking me to this ID. So in the web.php edit form, ID will be encountered whenever this URL will be encountered, and it will be having a post method. It is going to take me to iController edit data. So iController edit data will receive the form values as well as ID. So I'm going to find out the ID, and the record will be filled in add variable. And if request is method post, if form is being submitted, then it is going to update all the values of first name, last name, marks 1, marks 2 to my current column names, and again the same method will be called, and it will be taking me to the display data. So it was all about how to edit the record in Laravel. So if you like my video, do subscribe to my channel, and do like and share my videos to get latest updates of all the programming and technical. Thanks for watching my video.